Chapter 601. All of a sudden, everyone's gaze landed on Yi Chen. Those who had never seen Yi Chen before also saw Yi Chen's real face for the first time. As one of the top 3 martial geniuses, Dantai Mingyue also looked over. Then, her eyes landed on Murong Qingcheng, who was wearing a black mask. "Brother Yi, finally, someone wants to challenge you." Hai Wuya laughed. Ling Tianhao said, "Yi Chen, do not lose." Although he did not think that Yi Chen's power was more powerful than his head disciple Yan Fengfeng, who rarely fought with her real body, but since he could beat Lin Tian, he must have something up his sleeves. This Lan Shiqing was only slightly more powerful than Lin Tian before, and there was no clear winner between them. Lan Shiqing is very cunning, just like his battling style. Since he has made the 10 attacks agreement with you, he must want to get the upper hand within 10 attacks. Then, in everyone's eyes, Lan Shiqing would be slightly more powerful than you. Yan Fengfeng had seen through the problem, so she reminded him. Yi Chen said, making the 10 attacks agreement, either he is not confident, or he is very confident. I hope it is the latter. What? Yi Chen, you do not dare to accept my challenge? Lan Shiqing waved the fan in his hand as he walked out of the pavilion. Extending his body, Yi Chen lightly flew down from the top of the mountain, stepping on the surface of the 9-dragon lake. He opened his mouth and said, 10 attacks agreement. That is exactly what I want. Let's finish this quickly. Alright. I would like to see how powerful the so-called number 1 warrior below the top 5 young warriors really are. In the end, Lan Shiqing was not happy about being stepped on. But, just like Yan Fengfeng had said, he was very cunning. If Yi Chen was really powerful, then he would just be the stepping stone for the others, which was not what he wanted. Therefore, he said the 10 attacks agreement. He thought that within 10 attacks, even if he could not get the upper hand, he would not be at a disadvantage. But, he would let the situation be in his favor. Who? Lan Shiqing performed his flying art and shot toward the 9-dragon lake. On the way, he was still waving his fan. Besides the evil qi, he did look like a young master. In the middle of Jiulong Lake, the two stood 100 meters apart. Hall Master Mo, this Yi Chen also uses the sword. I wonder what level his attainment in the sword Dao has reached. The person who spoke was the leader of a rank 6 sect in the Misty Snow region, and the person he was talking to was the leader of the Misty Snow Hall, Snow Sword Master. Although 10 moves are short, I should be able to see something. Master Snow Sword was very emotional. Back then, when Yi Chen was being chased by the experts of the AO family, she was able to instantly kill all the experts of the AO family with a single sword strike. In just a few years, the genius sword artist who was being chased by the experts of the AO family had already grown to a level where he could be mentioned in the same breath as her. Yi Chen, take this. On top of the lake, Lan Shiqing's body was extremely fast as he flashed left and right, approaching Yi Chen in a curved way. The fan in his hand was raised up, attacking with unpredictable shadows. Clang! Yi Chen took out his gold sword and attacked as well. The first exchange of attacks between the two was just to test each other. Therefore, the battle was not that intense. It could only be said that there was a killing intent hidden within the calmness. Once the opponent could not hold on anymore, the calmness of the attack would be able to turn into a killing attack that could severely wound the opponent and end the battle with one attack. Misty Dream Flower. Lan Shiqing was very good at the Misty Profound. He formed a spell with his left hand, causing the rolling mist to spread out with him as the center. Soon, it drowned Yi Chen within, turning the area within a few thousand meters in the middle of the lake into a thick mist area. What the hell? How can we see clearly like this? After Lan Shiqing performed this attack, some of the people who were watching the battle yelled out. Normal mist would not be able to block the soul power detection, but the thick mist that was created by the Misty Profound had the effect of reducing soul power drastically. Therefore, they would not be able to notice some of the details. Countless misty flowers were formed as Lan Shiqing stepped on them, attacking towards Yi Chen without making a sound. Every single movement was extremely weird and tricky. If most of the people were walking on the right path, then Lan Shiqing would be walking on the wrong path, winning with surprise attacks. It was the first time for Yi Chen to fight with a young warrior like this, so he had a general understanding of his opponent's style. Break! A beam of sword chi broke through the thick mist, separating the lake water. Ha! It is useless. Close! Lan Shiqing was shocked at Yi Chen's observation power. The latter had not only blocked out his attack, but had also thrown out a counterattack, breaking through the thick mist with one sword attack. Speed sword hell! Yi Chen's expression did not change at all. He had seen the whole bewilderment forbidden zone before, and Lan Shiqing's misty dream flower was just a simplified version of it. Shaking his wrist, Yi Chen performed his fastest sword art. That sharp sword chi filled up the thick mist before shooting out in all directions. Looking from outside, the thousands of meters of thick mist looked like a huge porcupine. That slim long sword chi was both fast and sharp. Ha! A groan was heard from within the thick mist as a human figure was blown out of it. Everyone looked over and found out that it was Lan Shiqing. Right then, he looked a bit messed up, with a light footprint on his chest. Lan Shiqing swallowed a mouthful of blood that he was about to puke out. Although that kick from Yi Chen was not some powerful martial art, the power contained in it had broken through his protective Jin Yuan and traveled into his armor, causing him a serious internal injury. Yi Chen, I have indeed underestimated you. I was too careless. Lan Shiqing's expression did not look good. Stepping on the lake water, Yi Chen walked out of the thick mist slowly. He looked up and said, "It has been 7 attacks now. You only have 3 left." If someone else wanted to take advantage of him, although Yi Chen was not a stingy person, he would not let them get away with it. Therefore, after performing his speed sword hell and combining it with his soul power, he was able to pinpoint Lan Shiqing's exact location very quickly. He then approached with his extreme speed. After exchanging 2 attacks, he kicked the latter out of the thick mist. Right now, everyone could tell that Yi Chen had the upper hand. Alright, you have forced me to do this. Lan Shiqing did not plan to risk his life before, but right now, he had no other choice. His reputation was the most important thing to him, so how could he let himself lose to Yi Chen? Fog Ocean Attack. Behind Lan Shiqing's back, a huge amount of dense fog poured out. This time, the fog did not spread out in all directions. Instead, it gathered behind Lan Shiqing, connecting with his back. It was like a small ocean of fog, rolling up and down, looking both real and fake at the same time. Boom! Stepping on the lake water, Lan Shiqing rushed toward Yi Chen in a straight line, which was rare for him. With the support of the fog ocean, he looked so powerful and unstoppable. This Lan Shiqing is indeed not to be underestimated. This fog ocean contains not only the fog profound, but also his aura. Under that attack, even the most aggressive young warriors would not be able to handle it. I wonder how Yi Chen is going to handle it. It was one of the top 3 master-level blade artists, Lin Chaonan, and the one he was talking to was the leader of the 3, Xia Baiting. Xia Baiting said lightly, Lan Shiqing should still have some tricks up his sleeves, right? He did not think that he could beat Yi Chen with just the power of the fog ocean. The lake water could not handle Lan Shiqing's aura anymore, so it was pushed to the sides. Lose! With a loud shout, Lan Shiqing waved out that jade-like fan in his hand. At the same time, the fog ocean behind him suddenly left Lan Shiqing's body in an even more aggressive manner, devouring Yi Chen immediately. It was like a flood, making a human's strength seem so weak. If it were a normal person, being attacked by an invisible fog ocean, they would be panicking for sure. Even someone with a calm mind would be affected a little. Not to mention that there was still Lan Shiqing's aggressive attack. Since the fog ocean was pouring out from his body, he was the only one who was not affected at all, and could attack as much as he wanted. With all these factors, all the warriors who were slightly more powerful would be defeated by Lan Shiqing. This was Lan Shiqing's ace attack, the combination of the fake and the real. The fog ocean would affect the opponent's mind, and the attack would attack the opponent's body, making them exhausted. Boom! An exploding sound was heard. The center of the nine-dragon lake caved in immediately, forming a few thousand meters wide and 1,000 meters deep hemisphere. At the edge of the hemisphere, the lake water poured out in all directions. Looking over the waves, everyone saw that Lan Shiqing's fan had been blocked by Yi Chen's gold sword. Lan Shiqing's fog ocean attack did not give Yi Chen any openings at all. He. You have lost. Lan Shiqing's face flashed with a weird look as he pushed his fan forward along with the gold sword. Shoo! A long and thin sharp blade shot out from the front of the fan, stabbing right at Yi Chen's face. If he were to be stabbed by this sharp blade, it would be inevitable for his face to explode. Is that so? His left hand moved like lightning as Yi Chen's two fingers blocked the sharp blade. Since his opponent had attacked right next to the gold sword, his power would inevitably be weaker. Yi Chen's two fingers had not only blocked the sharp blade, but had also ended his opponent's attack. Unless he gave up on his fan, he would not be able to form another powerful attack in a short period of time. Not good. Lan Shiqing let go of his hand without hesitation and backed out. Unfortunately, Yi Chen would not give him the chance. He held the gold sword in his right hand and waved it up. That crescent-shaped gold sword chi had blown his opponent miles away. Eventually, he slid on the lake water and puked out 3 mouthfuls of blood. His face was extremely pale. In the ninth attack, Yi Chen had taken away his opponent's weapon cleanly and wounded him severely. Impressive. Snow Sword Master gasped. The leader of the rank 6 martial institution next to her asked, Leader Imo, what is so impressive about him? How come I feel that he did not use any powerful sword attacks? Snow Sword Master said, it is because he did not use any powerful sword attacks that he is so powerful. Let me ask you, have you seen through him? Not at all. That is right. He did not even use 80% of his power when fighting with Lan Shiqing. In other words, he is even more powerful than when he fought with Lin Tian. Around the Nine-Dragon Lake, everyone started to discuss. He is indeed the #1 warrior just below the top 5 young warriors. He beat Lan Shiqing so easily, and I did not even see any powerful attacks. For example, that sword attack of Tai Shichong's was extremely powerful, and that despairing blade attack of Dugaju was even more powerful. Lan Shiqing's fog ocean attack was even more powerful. His reputation is not just for show. I don't think anyone would doubt his power anymore. After this battle, Yi Chen had established his position. There would be no lack of challengers in the future, but no one would doubt his power. Yi Chen, you are indeed my most powerful opponent. Dugaju watched this battle with a serious look on his face. Dantai Mingyue was a woman after all, and the battle between a woman and a man would be slightly different from the battle between men. It was an undeniable fact, and it was not because he looked down on women. Chapter 602. Yi Chen did not continue to chase after Lin Ku. Holding his gold sword, he stood in the air and stared at the cold-looking young man and the one with the mole on his forehead, saying coldly, "What a troublemaker. It is the first time we have met, and you have already given people the title of troublemaker. It seems like you are quite good at using it. When exchanging pointers, one should stop when the time is right. Don't you think that breaking his arm is too vicious, too vicious? If everyone was like you, how could the Tianwu domain be peaceful?" The youth with the red mole on his forehead seemed to be throbbing, his expression stern. He. Yi Chen could not help but laugh. If it were me who had lost my arm, would you still say that? Or would you just ignore it? The round-faced young man said, "It was you who lost an arm, so we'll naturally reprimand him. However, I believe in Lin Ye's character, and he naturally has his reasons for dealing with you. All right, surrender now and we'll spare your worthless life. We'll merely cripple you, and you won't be able to do anything in our hands. Don't struggle in vain, as struggling will only make you die faster." Scold him. Yi Chen couldn't help but laugh as he shook his head, his eyes turning cold. To be honest, you two are not qualified to uphold justice, because you are just 2 evil dogs. If you don't piss off, I'll skin you alive. Hearing him, everyone was shocked and could not help but suck in a cold breath. They had never seen anyone who dared to talk to Mu Yunhe and Lin Tian like this, calling them evil dogs. It should be known that Lin Tian and Mu Yunhe were the top young warriors below the top 5 young warriors, not something Duan Lenya and Lin Ku could compare with. Of course, Yi Chen had also recognized Lin Tian and Mu Yunhe. Their strength was about the same, and they were even more powerful than Tai Shichong, one of the top 3 sword masters. Before breaking through, he would definitely not be their opponent. Perhaps only Yan Fengfeng with her real strength would be able to compete with them. Unfortunately, for some unknown reason, Yan Fengfeng rarely showed her real body in front of others. She had only shown it once during the fight for the longevity fruit and the dragon cave. What did you say? The round-faced young man's face turned pale. He did not expect Yi Chen to say something like that. Who was he? He was the head disciple of the prison martial school, one of the top 5 young warriors. Except for the top 5 young warriors, no one could beat him. At most, they would be on par with him. And Yi Chen was just a new rising star. No one knew where he got the chance to beat Duan Lenya and Lin Ku. I dare you to say that again. Mu Yunhe's eyes were spitting fire. Lin Tian's expression also became cold, his killing intent soaring into the sky. I said you two are evil dogs. Yi Chen's voice was so loud that it could be heard over half of West Tomb City. This guy is going against the heavens. Lin Ku, who was on the side, widened his eyes and shuddered. As for Duan Lenya, he had already fainted. Courting death. Mu Yunhe furiously roared and Jin Yuan erupted from his back, turning into multicolored clouds. His body was like a 1,000-year-old ferocious crane as he shuttled through the clouds. His 5 fingers spread open as if he was about to lift Yi Chen's head. This move didn't have any other profound mysteries, only speed. A ferocious bird hunting was extremely fast. Mu Yunhe was 10 times faster than even the most ferocious bird. His claws even more so extended out blood-colored radiance, tearing through the air, piercing through metal and stone, incomparably sinister. Piss off! Raising his gold sword, Yi Chen simply slashed down. Watch me take your sword. Mu Yunhe did not expect Yi Chen to react so fast, but it was not as if he did not have a backup plan. He flicked his wrist, trying to grab Yi Chen's gold sword. Unfortunately, Yi Chen's sword speed was just too fast, and he could not change his attack in time. Left with no other choice, he turned his claws into palms and shot out palm power. Boom! The huge sound was like 2 burning meteors crashing into each other. The sky above Xiling shook, and the entire space seemed like it was about to collapse. In the sky, a figure was blown down, blood spurting out of his mouth. It's Mu Yunhe. Everyone was shocked to find that the injured person was Mu Yunhe, cut down by Yi Chen's sword. What is going on? Did Mu Yunhe underestimate his opponent? Even if he underestimated his opponent, he should not be this miserable. Look, Yi Chen is not moving at all. Not only were the spectators shocked, but Lin Ku was also shocked and took a step back. Lin Tian's eyes shrunk, filled with killing intent and fear. Thump! Mu Yunhe staggered on the street and couldn't help but take a few steps back. Each step caused the street to crack and the houses to collapse. Impossible, what kind of power is this? Mu Yunhe's chin was stained with blood as he stared at Yi Chen in the sky. Even Mu Yunhe is not Yi Chen's opponent. How shocking! Although Murong Qingcheng had never been to the Sky Martial region, she knew some of the geniuses there, such as the 5 young warriors and the 3 young sword masters. Mu Yunhe's strength was second only to the 5 young warriors, but he was at least in the top 15. Apart from the 5 young warriors, there were less than 2 people who could compare to him, and only the 5 young warriors could injure him in one move. Mu Yunhe, if you know what's good for you, then get the hell out of Xiling City. Just now, Mu Yunhe had approached Yi Chen, which was equivalent to close-range combat. Yi Chen's current close-range combat was heaven-defying. He had 400,000 pounds of strength, and with his Jin Yuan, his offense was even scarier than when he used the dual sword style. You are also a bit stronger in close-range combat. I will not fight you in close-range combat. Let's see how you block my attacks. Mu Yunhe furiously roared. His figure rose from the ground and his two claws repeatedly waved, shooting out countless blood-red claws at Yi Chen. Break! Yi Chen held the gold sword with both hands and slashed down. A long sawtooth light wave shot upward, cleanly destroying the bloody claw imprints. However, Mu Yunhe was not Lin Ku, nor was he Duan Linya. His cultivation base had already reached late Sea of Soul Realm, and his Jin Yuan was incomparably vigorous. Each of his moves contained an immeasurable might. The sawtooth light wave shattered the bloody claw imprints, but it quickly dissipated without any effect. Shattering Yuan hand. Mu Yunhe's figure flickered, appearing even higher in the sky. His right hand spread open and fiercely pressed down on Yi Chen. Rumble. The space seemed to have caved in like mud. In the next moment, a scarlet palm descended from the sky, suffused with a bloody light. In a short moment, the scarlet palm grew larger and larger, almost covering the sky. It seemed as if it was going to crush Yi Chen and crush him into powder. This guy's will and profound are similar to Duan Linya's, but his Jin Yuan is a small realm higher. His battle power is incomparable. However, if you don't engage in close combat, how will you defeat me? Any attack that approaches me, I can use my physical strength to destroy it. Kacha! When the scarlet palm was less than 10 meters away from Yi Chen exerted strength in both of his arms. The gold sword slashed upward, and the scarlet palm was shattered. With a swish, Yi Chen rushed out of the opening and arrived above the scarlet palm. The scarlet palm behind him disappeared like smoke. You broke my shattering Yuan hand just like that? Mu Yunhe was stunned for a split second. Impossible. Although body refinement experts are powerful, they don't have such reaction speed or insight. Moreover, my shattering Yuan hand has the power to suppress the opponent. I can only use 80% of my power at most. Now, it's my turn to counterattack. 5 sword lights appeared around his body. With a flash, Yi Chen's speed reached a level that even Mu Yunhe could not match. In an instant, he had reached 30 times the speed of sound. When he was at the peak of early Sea of Soul Realm, Yi Chen's speed was close to 25 times the speed of sound. Now that he was at the peak of mid-Sea of Soul Realm, his Jin Yuan quantity and purity had increased by a level. With a flicker, Yi Chen arrived beside Mu Yunhe. No! Mu Yunhe's reaction was not slow, and he subconsciously waved his palm to meet the attack. Go up! Unexpectedly, Yi Chen did not wave his sword with his right hand. Instead, he held the long sword at his waist with his left hand and slashed upward. A blazing lightning sword energy swept out. Crack! As if struck by lightning, Mu Yunhe spurted out a huge mouthful of blood as his body was flung back. Unable to withstand a single blow. Absolutely unable to withstand a single blow. The spectators below didn't expect the famous Mu Yunhe to be unable to withstand a single blow from Yi Chen. It would have been fine if Yi Chen didn't take the initiative to attack, but the moment he did, Mu Yunhe didn't even have a chance to counterattack. He could only passively take a beating. Enough! Lin Tian, who had been biding his time, could no longer watch. Without any movement, his entire body soared into the sky like a treasured blade. Rip! With a slash, an earthen yellow blade light surged toward Yi Chen like a surging river. The blade aura was exceptionally powerful. Yi Chen gave up on Mu Yunhe and slashed apart the earthen yellow blade light. I admit that your strength is not bad. However, it's better not to be too arrogant. Lin Tian gloomily looked at Yi Chen. Yi Chen sized up his opponent. He could sense that Lin Tian's cultivation base was the same as his, peak mid-Sea of Soul Realm. However, the latter's essence chi was like a beacon, soaring into the sky. This was a sign that his strength was exceptionally powerful. You're also a body refining expert. Try and you'll know. Lin Tian's gaze was cold. Brother Lin, cripple him for me. Mu Yunhe's clothes were tattered, and his chest was scorched black. He forcefully suppressed his heavily injured body and flew down, instructing Lin Tian. Lin Tian was different from him. The latter had cultivated body refining martial arts since childhood and was extremely talented in this aspect. Thus, he mainly cultivated strength, with Jin Yuan as a support. Of course, the Lin family was one of the 4 great families, and they had spent a huge amount of resources to raise his Jin Yuan cultivation base to peak mid-sea of Soul Realm. With the combination of the two, Mu Yunhe had no choice but to admit that only by increasing the distance between them could he not be defeated. In close combat, he was not his opponent at all. However, thinking of Yi Chen, Mu Yunhe couldn't help but shiver. Did he mainly cultivate Jin Yuan or strength? Both aspects were frighteningly powerful, simply breaking the balance. Don't worry. In close combat, I'm not afraid of anyone. Lin Tian replied. Alright, I'll wait for your good news. Mu Yunhe clenched his fists and flew down with a pale complexion. Suddenly, he glanced at Murong Qingcheng and a sneer appeared on his face. Chapter 603. Yi Chen, who was hovering in the air, had no intention of letting Mu Yunhe go like this. He straightened his gold sword, and a ball of thunder energy traveled from the hilt to the tip, making the whole sword look like a lightning bolt. The end of the lightning was held in Yi Chen's hand, unable to escape. You dare! Lin Tian roared. Pap! Yi Chen ignored Lin Tian's warning and slashed down with his gold sword. Ever since Sky Thunder Cut reached completion, and from completion to 110%, it was no longer in the shape of a sword, but in the shape of a lightning bolt. A sharp lightning bolt suddenly struck down and struck Mu Yunhe's back, burning him black. His body stiffly fell on the roof of the West Hill restaurant, then slid down the roof and lay next to Duanlenya. Who the hell is this guy? Lin Ku already knew about Yi Chen's identity. The reason he said this was because Duanlenya and Mu Yunhe had fallen in Yi Chen's hands, and he himself had been heavily injured. He felt as if he was seeing Yi Chen for the first time. This kid is not easy to mess with. Duanlenya and Mu Yunhe have kicked an iron plate. Right, I still don't know his name. He seems to be in his early 20s, so he must have entered the Sea of Soul Realm long ago. There are only 3 people who could do so at such a young age, Duge Zhu and Dantai Mingyue. We've seen their faces, so it can't be them. Then, there is only one person who fits the description, and he should be Yi Chen. Yi Chen. The monstrous Yi Chen whose name has spread throughout the whole Sky Martial region. 3 monstrous geniuses gathered in Sky Martial region. The future will be lively. Everyone sighed. In the sky, Lin Tian and Yi Chen stood 100 steps apart, facing each other. Very well, you've successfully angered me. Take this. Like a flying knife tearing through the air, Lin Tian rapidly approached Yi Chen. When he was 10 meters away from him, he gripped his knife hilt with both hands and slashed at Yi Chen with all his strength. The profound in this strike wasn't too profound, it was even inferior to Yi Chen's. However, Lin Tian didn't plan on relying on true essence or profound. What he poured into this strike was the terrifying strength that he was so proud of. Back off! A frightening roar rang out as the blade radiance appeared. Not necessarily. Also holding the gold sword with both of his hands, Yi Chen stepped forward with his right foot. He lowered his body and steadied his center of gravity. Deep inside his body, the dragon power flowed through his cells, bones, blood, and meridians like an erupting volcano, pouring into Yi Chen's arms. As Yi Chen yelled, he waved his gold sword and attacked. Clang! A deafening sound erupted. This sound could no longer be described as a sound in the world. If one had to describe it, it was like 2 metal meteorites that had been tempered by heavenly fire colliding together. The violent power was not restrained at all, and there was no hesitation as it collided with each other. Then, it crazily squeezed and collided, as if it wanted to completely destroy this space. After the loud explosion, the sky above Western Tomb City changed, becoming like a transparent lake. Above the lake, distorted ripples spread out in all directions. Under the refraction of the sunlight, Western Tomb City was suddenly dyed in a myriad of colors, as if it were a dream. Boom! Even Yi Chen and Lin Tian couldn't handle the huge impact. They both backed out, trying to get rid of that power that made their bones creak. He is indeed a body-training warrior. Yi Chen only managed to stop after backing out for a few hundred meters. Ripples spread out under his feet, looking like countless lotus flowers appearing and disappearing in the air. Subtracting the Jin Yuan, profound, intent, and weapons, his power should be around 550,000 Jin, and not more than 600,000. However, his body's toughness is similar to mine, a rank 3 spirit body. It seems like his body's talent is better than mine, which means he can have more power. They both had rank 3 spirit bodies, but Yi Chen's limit was 400,000 Jin while Lin Tian's was 550,000 Jin, or even more. Comparing the two, Yi Chen was far behind. Of course, Yi Chen and Lin Tian were different. The latter focused on power, while Yi Chen focused on Jin Yuan. His profound and intent were much higher than Lin Tian's. His attacking power is above mine. Lin Tian backed out even further than Yi Chen, about 500 meters. Tiger Demon's secret blood art. Without hesitation, Lin Tian used a powerful secret art that would overdraft his physical strength and even life force. This secret art would allow him to break through the limits of his body and explode with even greater power. It had to be said that the human body was filled with endless mysteries. Even a week-old lady could carry a large bag of rice when her potential erupted, let alone Lin Tian, who was a body refinement expert. Lin Tianhuan's face was covered in blood-colored patterns, and his body was covered in them as well. His body was emitting an iron-blooded aura. Blue veins popped out on his arms like small snakes. Creak! Tightly holding onto the blade hilt, Lin Tianhuan's eyes locked onto Yi Chen, who was 700 meters away. His pupils shrank. There is a blood color in the essence chi smoke. This is a secret art that overdrafts one's potential. This kind of secret art only exists in the barbarian race. I didn't expect Lin Tian to have it too. Yi Chen didn't dare to be careless. He held the gold sword in his right hand and moved his left hand to his waist. Tiger Demon's blade. Lin Tian had wandered in the barbarian race's territory before, and was fortunate enough to obtain a secret art that could overdraft one's potential. Relying on this secret art, he could even exchange 3 moves with Xiao Chuha, one of the top 5 young tycoons. Although he was defeated on the 4th move, it should be known that before he used the Tiger Demon's secret blood art, he couldn't even take 1 move from Xiao Chuha. However, the Tiger Demon's secret blood art side effects were too great, and he was not a barbarian. His body's foundation was very strong. Therefore, unless it was absolutely necessary, he would not use the Tiger Demon's secret blood art. This was his 3rd time using it, and he had to defeat Yi Chen. Otherwise, in a few days, the news of his defeat would spread throughout the Sky Martial region. At his level, he could not allow himself to be defeated by someone else. The Tiger Demon's hidden blood art was a secret technique that stimulated and overdrafted one's potential. It also contained a saber technique. This saber technique was a saber technique that utilized vital force. It could condense all the strength in one's body into a single point and kill the opponent with a single strike. Whoosh! Raising his speed to the limit, Lin Tian's entire body was like a demonic tiger. The blood-colored patterns on his face looked extremely sinister. In his hand, the long blade sliced through the air, bringing with it a blood-colored blade light. With a thunderous momentum, it slashed out as fast as a blood-colored lightning. Lose! Lin Tian roared. The one who will lose is you. Yi Chen lowered his body like a hibernating dragon that was about to break free. Whoosh! The gold sword slashed out vertically, while the long sword in his left hand slashed out diagonally. Yi Chen rushed forward, clashing with Lin Tian. The moment the two clashed, the 2 swords perfectly crossed, lighting up the entire West Tomb City. Clang! 2 swords and 1 blade fiercely clashed, wantonly releasing a berserk power. The owners of the 2 fiercely glared at each other, the muscles on their arms bulging out. Chapter 604. Through the demonic tiger's secret blood art, Lin Tian's current offensive power was faintly surpassing Yi Chen's. The moment they clashed, he felt that the situation was in his favor, and a cold smile appeared on his face. However, that smile soon froze. Yi Chen's two swords crossed, and a thumb-sized thunderball appeared. This thunderball was dark blue in color, and the lightning it emitted was also dark blue in color. Countless zigzagging lightning bolts shot out, turning the area within 1,000 meters into a lightning zone. Bang! The thunderball's expanding speed surpassed Lin Tian's reaction. The thumb-sized thunderball instantly expanded several hundred times, then several thousand times. The resulting explosive power sent Lin Tian flying, and he felt as if all the bones in his body had been shattered. Moreover, he felt an intense numbness. The two clashed and then separated. Swish! The impact Yi Chen received was far less than Lin Tian. After retreating 100 meters, he stomped on the void and turned into a sword light. Not good. Lin Tian's muscles were numb, and he could only use 30 to 40% of his power. Forcibly resisting would only result in failure. Heaven's Sieve Armor, release. At this critical moment, Lin Tian's protective Jin Yuan thickened by several inches, looking like a layer of glass. Meanwhile, the outline of a mysterious armor appeared within Lin Tian's robes. As the armor's outline appeared, mysterious runes appeared on the protective Jin Yuan. These runes were connected by fine threads and slowly revolved around Lin Tian. Half-step extreme grade armor. Yi Chen abruptly stopped his momentum. With the Heaven's Sieve armor protecting me, I'm already in an invincible position. If this goes on, you'll lose without a doubt. Originally, Lin Tian didn't intend to use the Heaven's Sieve armor. As far as he was concerned, apart from the 5 young tycoons, no one was worthy of him using it. Half-step extreme grade armor. This time, Yi Chen is in trouble. If he can't break the Heaven's Sieve armor's defense, he won't be able to injure Lin Tian. Moreover, Lin Tian can attack without any restraint. If this goes on, Yi Chen will lose for sure. I heard that Lin Tian obtained the Sky Sieve armor from the Treasure Holy Pagoda. I wonder which level did he reach? No one looked at Lin Tiandong with disdain for using the Heaven's Sieve armor to protect himself. To a cultivator, artifacts were also a part of one's strength. If everything was fair, then it would be unfair. After all, some artifacts were obtained by people who risked their lives to obtain them. Yi Chen sized up Lin Tian's barrier and said, "Forget it, I don't have much enmity with you. Let's call it a day. I only hope that you won't provoke me in the future." Crippling Duanlinya was more than enough. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Yi Chen did not want to offend the Lin family, one of the top 4 families in the world. It was not necessary. You want to leave? Lin Tian's face was filled with anger. He indeed didn't have much enmity with Yi Chen, and Lin Ku was only slightly injured. He would be able to fully recover after a month or 2 of recuperation. However, his injuries could recover, but his reputation couldn't. Today, he definitely couldn't allow Yi Chen to leave safely. He, Lin Tian, couldn't lose. What, you want to fight with me? Yi Chen's eyebrows twitched. Yi Chen, could it be that you're afraid? Artifacts are also a part of power. My brother being able to obtain the Heaven's Sieve armor is his own ability. No one will say anything. Below, Lin Ku's voice was heard, carrying a hint of pride. Lin Tian's expression also relaxed as he looked at Yi Chen with a mocking expression. Hee hee. Yi Chen chuckled, "Me, afraid? Since you want to fight, I'll accompany you." Buzz! The storage ring flickered with a dim light and a dark blue, domineering sword appeared in Yi Chen's right hand. This sword had not yet been unsheathed, but the air was already filled with destructive lightning arcs. What? Semi-extreme grade sword. Lin Tian cried out in shock. Everyone's expression changed as well, especially Lin Ku. He wanted to say something, but he immediately shut his mouth, his face full of shock. Chin. Unsheathing the Thunder Disaster Sword, the sword's body flickered like lightning. Yi Chen looked straight at Lin Tian and said indifferently, "Lin Tian, if you want to fight, let's fight. I'm not afraid." Damn it. How come he also has a semi-extreme grade artifact? Lin Tian cursed inwardly. What, you're giving up? Yi Chen saw Lin Tian's flickering gaze. Give up? How is that possible? Today, you and I must decide who's stronger. At this point, Lin Tian already had no way out. He could only fight. If he didn't fight, it would be more humiliating than losing. I'd like to see whether your semi-extreme grade sword is sharper or my Heaven Civ armor's defense is stronger. Demonic Tiger Blade. The Demonic Tiger's secret blood arts effect was still ongoing. Lin Tian roared and raised his blade with both hands, slashing at Yi Chen's blade. Breaking your defense is a piece of cake. Yi Chen didn't plan to clash head-on with the opponent. The latter was a body-refining expert who liked to clash head-on. However, Yi Chen wasn't. His previous clash was merely to test the limits of his offense. Now, he already knew the result. It was time to thoroughly defeat the opponent. Swish! With a flash of sword light, Yi Chen raised his speed to the limit and suddenly appeared on Lin Tian's right side. The Thunder Disaster Sword pierced forward, using the perfected amaranthine nature. The rune-covered barrier caved in a bit, and its edges had spiderweb-like cracks. It looked like a transparent glass that was about to shatter. Seeing that Yi Chen didn't want to clash head-on, Lin Tian promptly waved his blade. However, what was cut was only an afterimage. Golden Resonant Radiance. In the sky, Yi Chen slashed down with his sword upside down. A dazzling golden sword-shaped light wave with sharp sawteeth cut at Lin Tian's barrier. Tsing 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 tsing. Tsing 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 tsing. Dazzling sparks flew everywhere, and Lin Tian's barrier was almost cut open. At the crucial moment, he waved his blade upward, shattering the sawtooth light wave. As the sawtooth light wave was shattered, a smile appeared on Yi Chen's face. Lin Tian's barrier was weaker than he had imagined. It seemed like the opponent indeed specialized in strength. Therefore, although the latter's Jin Yuan cultivation base was the same as his, at the peak of Mid-Sea of Soul Realm, it wasn't as solid as his, nor was it as pure as his. Moreover, artifacts required Jin Yuan to activate. Clearly, he couldn't activate the Heaven Civ armor to its limit. Shwa 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 shwa, Yi Chen circled around Lin Tian. Lin Tian's reaction wasn't slow either. Out of the 3 times, he managed to parry 2 of Yi Chen's attacks. Here's my chance. A feint triggered Lin Tian's counterattack. Yi Chen once again crossed his 2 swords and slashed at Lin Tian's barrier. Creak creak. A crisscrossed sword scar appeared on the barrier, growing larger and larger as it penetrated inside. As the lightning ball shot out, the barrier shattered like an egg, unable to hold on any longer. The huge recoil caused Lin Tian to bleed from his 7 orifices. The blood-colored patterns on his face also dimmed and disappeared, returning to his body. The Tiger Demon's secret blood art could not be used indefinitely. Being able to last until now meant that the side effects were not small. With so many internal and external problems, Lin Tian would be in a weakened state for a very long time. Lin Tian lost. Duanlongya, Lin Ku, Mu Yunhe, and Lin Tian, the 4 of them fought with Yi Chen one after another, and they all lost miserably. I dare to bet that in less than 3 months, Yi Chen's name will shake the world, and his fame will catch up to the 5 young tycoons. Do I need you to say that? To be able to defeat Mu Yunhe and Lin Tian, it would be hard for him not to become famous. As the crowd discussed, Yi Chen flew to Murong Qingqing's side, and then he glanced at Lin Ku in the restaurant. Lin Ku noticed Yi Chen's gaze and was startled. He was heavily wounded, and many of his meridians were broken. He couldn't even take one attack from Yi Chen. Let's go. Yi Chen didn't plan to continue chasing after Lin Ku. After all, Duanlongya was the main culprit, and the others were just accomplices. As Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing left, Lin Ku let out a sigh of relief. they were finally gone. Glancing at Mu Yunhe, Duan Lenya, and his brother, who was even more heavily wounded than him, Lin Ku let out a bitter laugh. This time, they had truly lost everything. Who would have thought that Yi Chen would become so powerful in just a few months? In the past, when they fought with Hai Wuya, they always had the upper hand. Only when Yan Fengfeng was there would they not be able to gain the upper hand. But now that Yi Chen was here, they didn't even have the qualifications to fight. What frightened him the most was that a few months ago, Yi Chen was not his opponent at all. In a month, the incident in West Toon City had spread throughout the whole Sky Martial region. Everyone knew that there was a person called Yi Chen who had defeated Lin Ku, Duan Lenya, Mu Yunhe, and Lin Tian. His strength had shocked all the geniuses. Duge family, inside a quiet courtyard, Yi Chen, I didn't expect you to improve so fast. Right now, I am indeed not your opponent. But, this is just the beginning. Once I have the qualifications to challenge Xiao Chuha, I will challenge you as well. Sitting under a tree, Duge Ju's eyes shone brightly. One could see that compared to 2 months ago, Duge Ju's Jin Yuan had become much richer, reaching the peak of mid-sea of Soul's realm. During the battle with Tai Shichong, he had just broken through to mid-sea of Soul's realm, and he didn't have the time to consolidate his cultivation base. Therefore, he couldn't use any treasures to increase his cultivation base to the peak of mid-sea of Soul's realm. Today, Yi Chen's incident in West Toon City had spread to the Duge family, and then to him through his cousin Duge Ming. When he first heard the news, he was shocked as well. But, he soon calmed down, since it didn't matter much at the moment, since everyone was making progress. It was just a matter of how much progress they made. As far as Duge Ju was concerned, only when one couldn't make any progress would the winner be decided. After all, every level had its limits. For example, one's Jin Yuan cultivation base could only reach the peak of late sea of Soul's realm at most, and one's profound could only reach the mid-rank profound at most. Normally, one's will would reach the peak of the 4th step, and those who could break through to the 5th step were few and far between. The top 5 young warriors had basically reached the point where they couldn't make any progress. Therefore, they were the most powerful among the young warriors. Even Lin Tian, who was close to the top 5 young warriors, couldn't handle a few attacks from Xiao Chuha. Therefore, the top 5 young warriors stood at the peak of this level. If they wanted to catch up, they would have to reach the point where they couldn't make any progress. Chapter 605. Only 3 more spirit plants, and then I will have all the materials needed to make the antidote for the shadowless poison. Inside the mountain that was covered in fog, there was a small town. Normally, there would not be a single person in the town, but today, there were a lot of people walking out of the town. Among the crowd, a young couple was walking side by side. The man was wearing blue robes, with a long sword hanging on his waist, and the girl was wearing a purple dress, with a light veil covering her face. It was indeed Yi Chen and Murong Qingcheng, who had left the West Hill City about a month ago. Yi Chen said after letting out a breath. Murong Qingcheng glanced at Yi Chen, pressed her lips together, and said, I did not expect you to be able to collect so many materials in such a short time. There are still 3 more, so it should not take too long. Thank you. Her mother, Su Ruhui, had been poisoned by the shadowless poison, which had been weighing on Murong Qingcheng's mind for a long time. In fact, if she had not been distracted, she could have reached the Sea of Soul's realm much earlier. After Su Ruhui's help, she was finally able to focus on her closed-door training, and finally reached the Sea of Soul's realm 2 months ago. She originally thought that Yi Chen would not be able to collect that many materials by himself, but she did not expect that Yi Chen would put so much effort into it, and managed to collect almost all of the precious materials. When she arrived, he was still missing 5 materials, but now, he was only missing 3. Yi Chen chuckled and did not say anything more. He changed the topic. I did not expect that there would be a small town like this in the middle of nowhere. If I did not get the information from the pavilion, I would have missed the 2 materials that I just got. The small town was called the Barren Mountain Town, which was located at the border between the Sky Martial region and the North region. No one had lived there for hundreds of years, and then it became a place for a secret auction to deal with some shady items. The time of the auction was not fixed. Sometimes, it would be held once every few months, and sometimes, it would not be held even once every few years. Through the pavilion, Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing knew that there was going to be an auction here, so they rushed over from hundreds of thousands of miles away. A group of people stood on a tall building near the town's gate. Did you see that? It's the two of them. At the auction, that kid spent hundreds of thousands of upper-level spirit stones to buy 2 spirit grasses without even blinking. I'm guessing that he has more upper-level spirit stones on him. The person who spoke raised a finger. 100,000 top-grade spirit stones, the person beside him said subconsciously. Wrong. It's 1,000,000 upper spiritual stones. 1,000,000? That's too much. Perhaps his wealth has already been depleted. I've been in the auction house for so many years, how could I be blind? Apart from Life and Death Kings, I haven't seen anyone below Life and Death King realm. No matter how high their strength is, they will always reveal some clues. From their eyes, facial expressions, and even some small movements, I can guess their net worth. For example, if you have 100,000 upper-grade spirit stones, if you spend 90,000 upper-grade spirit stones to buy something, you will definitely feel heartache. You will unconsciously make a move, but you won't be aware of it. That sounds reasonable. You said that brat spent hundreds of thousands of top-rank spirit stones, but he did not feel heartache at all. Therefore, I can guess that his net worth is around 1,000,000. Indeed, this is a big deal. I am just afraid that we will not be able to afford it. Everyone who dares to come to this town must have something up their sleeves. This brat must be a powerful martial genius from the Sky Martial region. Unfortunately, I have never seen him before. If you haven't seen him before, it means that he is not that famous. As long as he is not one of those famous young warriors, we will have a 100% chance of succeeding. Even if it is a famous young warrior, the success rate would be above 60%. Fortune comes from danger, not to mention that we still have 3 godly martial puppet cannons. Damn! Let's do it! Yi Chen's fame had only started to spread throughout the Sky Martial region this month. The Barren Ridge town was located at the border between the Sky Martial region and the North region. There were a lot of people who did not know about Yi Chen. We are almost out of the fog-hidden magic array. Yi Chen and Yi Chen did not fly into the air. The Barren Ridge town was surrounded by a huge fog-hidden magic array. Inside the fog-hidden magic array, one could only walk out or in step by step. Once they flew into the air, it would be very easy for them to get lost in the thick fog, which would be a waste of time. This was also the reason why the Barren Ridge town was chosen as the location for the secret auction. Watch out! Yi Chen suddenly grabbed Murong Qingqing's hand and stepped back. Boom! A glaring red light landed on the ground in front of the two of them. In an instant, a huge pit appeared out of thin air. It had a diameter of 100 meters and a depth of more than 50 meters. The exposed surface of the pit was crystallized, and the soil had been burned into crystals. Puppet cannon. Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing stepped back very fast. They were only hit by the shockwave, which was not a big deal. However, the power of the red light made them look serious. If they did not step back in time, the red light would have landed on them. Even if they did not die, they would have been crippled. Damn it! They dodged it. Let's fire together. I do not believe that they can fly away. 3 miles away, a group of people spread out. In front of them were 3 huge puppet cannons. There were wheels on the bottom of the cannons, and their bodies were dark red with complicated patterns carved on them. There was a circle on the top of the cannons, which had a white crystal embedded in it. There was a human shadow on the crystal, which was obviously Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing. Boom! 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 The puppet cannons vibrated, and 3 eye-piercing red light shot out like 3 burning meteors in the fog, aiming right at the 2 people who were a few miles away. After dodging 2 of the red light, the third one seemed to be unavoidable. Yi Chen took out his Thunder Disaster Sword and threw out a sword attack, hitting right in the middle of the red light. Swoosh! He had already used his Gold Resonant Radiance Sword attack this time, which sliced the red light in half. The two weaker ones landed on the left and right sides, exploding into a huge flame. Strange! How did they manage to aim at us? Yi Chen was curious, since this fog-hidden spell had the effect of weakening soul power as well. Based on his estimation, it would be around 100 times. With Yi Chen's powerful soul power, he could only shoot it out 5 miles away. Most of the Sea of Souls realm warriors could only reach 1 mile. But, according to his senses, the attacker was 3 miles away, which meant that they would be able to aim at them from 3 miles away. Darkness Sky. With both of her hands wrapped in a black chi, Murong Qingqing pushed up a semicircular black shield, protecting Yi Chen and herself within. What? Gone. On top of the white crystal, Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing had disappeared. In their eyes, it was something unimaginable, since it was not a normal crystal. It was a precious crystal that could sense life. It was not originally mounted on the godly martial puppet cannon, but they had gotten it from some ruins. They had suddenly thought of putting it on the cannon, which was like adding wings to a tiger. They had used it to attack countless master-level Sea of Souls realm warriors who were more powerful than them. It must be some kind of secret art. Damn! Let's go. This thing is troublesome. This group of people left without hesitation, putting away the godly martial puppet cannon and disappearing without a trace. They are gone. The moment the black screen was erected, the red light did not attack again. Yi Chen guessed that it was probably because the Dark Profound had the ability to block out the senses. After all, his soul power had been weakened 80 to 90% by the black screen. When Murong Qingqing dispersed the black screen, Yi Chen realized that there was no one 3 li away from him. This Dark Profound of yours is indeed powerful. Yi Chen praised. Murong Qingqing said, unfortunately, there is only one defensive martial art. Being able to learn the Dark Profound will benefit me a lot. In the future, I will be able to create my own profound martial art based on the characteristics of the Dark Profound. Ever since the Sky Thunder Cut and Gold Resonant Radiance Sword art had both reached completion, reaching 130% respectively, Yi Chen had already started to study new sword movements. After all, the Sky Thunder Cut and the Gold Resonant Radiance Sword art were a bit too low, unable to contain the Thunder Profound and Gold Profound. In Yi Chen's eyes, the sword movements were like a container, and the Profound was the water. Once the water was full, it would be completed. But once the water overflowed, it meant that the Profound had surpassed the sword movements level, since there were still mid-rank Profound sword movements above the low-rank Profound. Who are you people? Dozens of miles away, the group of people who had tried to sneak attack Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing had been stopped by a group of men in black robes. These people's bodies were very vague, looking like black smoke or floating shadows, giving people the feeling that they did not have any mass. The leading man laughed, "The puppet cannon is not bad. Leave it, and I will not kill you." Why? Before he could finish, the leading man's body suddenly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in the crowd. Shoo! 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 After a couple of rounds, the group of people who were planning to sneak attack Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing had all fallen down, their chests pierced through. Taking away these people's storage rings, the leading man opened them one by one and soon found 3 godly martial puppet cannons. Not bad. These 3 cannons are the top of the top-rank puppets. Another man in black said, "I did not expect this group of trash to have puppet cannons. But, it seems like we have gotten lucky. The puppet cannons are an unexpected gain. But, killing that young man named Yi Chen and taking that girl is our real goal this time. That Yi Chen is not simple. No wonder he could take off Duan Linya's right arm and make the ice pavilion angry. They took out 2 million top-rank soul stones to hire our assassins. That price is enough to kill 10 normal master-level Sea of Souls realm warriors. No, not 2 million top-rank soul stones, it is 3 million. Don't forget, all of their wealth is ours as well. second leader, when should we do it? No rush. Taking that girl would be easy. As for killing Yi Chen, it would be a bit difficult. I do not want to lose half of our men just to complete the mission. It would not fit our motto. Either we do not kill, or we do not kill. We, the assassins of the Ghost Shadow Pavilion, have never failed in our mission in the past 10 years. Unfortunately, that girl. Once we hand her over to the Ice Pavilion, she would be doomed. What can we do? We are paid to do it. Plus, you guys are not good people either. I do not believe that you would not be tempted. Second leader, you are so smart. Chapter 606. Among the top 10 cities in the world, the Sky Marshal region had 4. The Xianming city was a super city near the northern regions. Within the Xianming city, it snowed all year round, and the weather was dark and gloomy. There were often strong gusts of wind that could blow away houses that were not very sturdy, and could also blow ordinary people with low cultivation into the sky. In a manner in the city, Yi Chen and Murong Qingcheng had been living a peaceful life. When they were free, they would make tea and chat, and forget about each other. Of course, the two did not forget to cultivate. On the empty ground of the manor covered in snow, Yi Chen held a normal sword in his hand. His body moved, and the sword light danced in the air. Beams of gold light shot out from the tip of the sword. Sword art does not have to be as complicated as possible. It should be as close to the profound as possible. If I can get close to the profound, I will get twice the result with half the effort. If I can't get close to the profound, I will get half the result with twice the effort. The metal profound is all about sharpness, but I always feel that it is missing something. The metal yuan qi turned into sword qi crisscrossed, and with a few cracking sounds, the thick layer of frost on the surface of the lake was cut open. The lake water surged up, and as the sword qi increased, the frost was broken into pieces, and some of it was directly turned into powder by the sword qi, turning into ice water. In the lake, circles of ripples spread out. Inadvertently glancing at the lake, Yi Chen stopped what he was doing and stared at the ripples on the lake. Metal, water, right, metal gives birth to water. Something in Yi Chen's mind seemed to have been opened, and he suddenly understood. Generally speaking, gold begets water, water begets wood, wood begets fire, fire begets earth, and earth begets gold. Generally speaking, gold mines are always found near rivers, which means that wherever there is gold, there must be water. As for gold begets water, it doesn't mean that when the metal melts, it will turn into liquid metal. Instead, when the metal is left for a period of time, there will be water droplets on the surface of the metal. In a deeper sense, the metal's temperature will moisturize the metal. Therefore, if one wanted to create a sword movement that was more suitable for the metal profound, they couldn't just focus on the metal element, but also on the water element. After figuring out the breakthrough, Yi Chen continued to practice his sword art. It could be seen that Yi Chen's sword art no longer pursued sharpness and fierceness. Gradually, there was a gentleness to it. This gentleness did not make the sharpness of the sword art dissipate. Instead, it made the sword art more resilient and offensive, increasing its lethality. 3 days later. Roar! A crisp sound of a sword rang out. Yi Chen waved his sword, and a few streaks of golden sword qi spread out like ripples towards the fake mountain next to the lake. The rockery did not move at all. With a smile on his face, Yi Chen pushed out with his left hand, and a palm wind blew out. Swoosh! The fake mountain was shattered into pieces, falling onto the ground. The cut was smooth and clean, as if it had been carefully polished. There was not even a single speck of dust on it. Normally, when he used his gold profound sword art to cut, there would be some dust. That was because the sword qi was too sharp and aggressive, which made the power spread out. The gentleness had made the sword qi even more condensed. This attack is still in its early stages, but I have finally found the right path. Since it was inspired by water, I will call it Gold Pattern. Gold Pattern. It was the first mid-rank profound sword art that Yi Chen had created. Its power was twice as powerful as the gold resonant radiance sword art, and that was because it had not been completed yet. Once it was completed, even normal mid-rank profound martial arts would not be able to reach such a level of power. Because this attack was no longer just a simple gold profound sword art. On this day, the sky was clear, which was rare for it to be. White snow covered the sky, and everything was covered in silver. I have been here for a couple of days, and I still have not had the chance to walk around the Xianming city. Let's go for a walk. After spending some time together, the relationship between Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing had developed naturally. The two were enjoying each other's warmth as they walked out of the mansion hand in hand. Xianming City was one of the top 10 cities in the world, so the flow of people was astonishing. Once the sky cleared up, the streets were filled with people. There were martial artists with sabers and swords, peddlers and servants, travel-worn merchants, and young masters and ladies of rich families. Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing walked in the crowd, looking like cranes among chickens. After walking for a while, the two arrived at a restaurant and sat by the window. Have you heard? On the 18th of September, Xia Hozuan from the Godly Finger Martial School is going to battle with Bai Wuxue on the Nine Dragon Mountain. Suddenly, someone said a shocking piece of news. What? Xia Hozuan and Bai Wuxue are going to battle? Is this news true? Of course it is. Right now, this news has spread all over the Sky Martial region. The Xianming city is located in the north of the region, so it would take a bit longer for the news to arrive. The top 5 young warriors challenging each other is such a grand occasion. Normally, they would not do it in a big way, and would only do it in the dark. Once they challenge each other, they would have to have a winner, and it would be very intense. In the past 5 years, only the sword master had challenged Xiao Chuha once. That time, it was the sword master who was slightly more powerful, wounding Xiao Chuha with one sword attack. But, I heard that Xiao Chuha's power had already grown to an unpredictable level. So, I would not say that he is weaker than the sword master. Moreover, Xia Hozuan and Bai Wuxue have never revealed their full power. I did not expect that they would challenge each other this time. Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing heard all of these people, and they could not help but be interested. The 18th of September. There is still 1.5 months from now. Murong Qingqing said. Yi Chen said, I have seen Bai Wuxue once before. His power is unpredictable, and his aura is everywhere. He is much more powerful than Lin Tian, Mu, and Yunhe. The top 5 young warriors should all be at the peak of the Sea of Souls realm. If they continue to break through, they would be heading toward the life and death realm. I wonder if those famous master-level warriors from the older generation would be able to compete with these 5? Murong Qingqing said. Yi Chen shook his head, there might not be many who could beat the top 5 young warriors. Of course, it is not like there are none. The leader of the Dragon God's Celestial Palace, Zhang Jingguang, is already close to the top 5 young warriors. As for the other 4 palaces, such as the Black Dragon Palace, Azure Dragon Palace, White Dragon Palace, and Red Dragon Palace, there might be some palace leaders who are as powerful as the top 5 young warriors, or even more powerful. There are also the top 3 Blade Master level warriors. Xiao Chuha had only beaten one of them, Shen Qianlang. Yeah! Murong Qingqing nodded and laughed. Right now, there are rumors in the Sky Martial region saying that you are the number 1 warrior just below the top 5 young warriors. Even Du Guju and Dantai Mingyue have been left behind by you. Yi Chen chuckled, that is not necessarily true. You know that I have improved really fast in the past couple of months, and now I have slowed down. So, the others must have their periods of rapid improvement and slow improvement as well. Sometimes, it does not mean much. As the two were talking, the restaurant became more and more lively. You guys, who do you think is stronger? Xia Hozuan or Bai Wuxue? That is hard to say. Xia Hozuan and Bai Wuxue both have their own glorious sides. Xia Hozuan is one of the top master-level warriors in finger arts, while Bai Wuxue is the only Sea of Souls realm warrior who made it out of the blood-crying ghost region alive in the past 20 years. Without a battle, it would be hard to tell who is stronger. Although that is the case, I still think Xia Hozuan will win. You did not see his finger art. It is so shocking. I heard that it is something called the void-shattering finger, which contains the space profound. Space profound. Gasps were heard one after another. Yi Chen's pupils had shrunk as well. Yi Chen, what is it? Murong Qingqing asked. Yi Chen forced a smile and said, you should know that I have a finger art, which also contains the space profound. It is called the void-shattering finger. If I have guessed it right, Xia Hozuan's void-shattering finger and my void-shattering finger come from the same source. They are two movements of the void-shattering finger. Two movements of the void-shattering finger. So, besides the two of you, there might be other void-shattering finger arts out there? Yi Chen said, I do not know how many movements of the void-shattering finger arts Xia Hozuan has. But, he and I will cross paths in the future. I just do not know where things will go. The void-shattering finger art and the white key that he got from the Goat Head Mountain contained a shocking treasure. Until now, Yi Chen still did not know what it represented. He vaguely knew that it was a graveyard, the graveyard of a titled emperor. Of course, it was just a literal understanding, and no one knew what it actually was. After all, there were just too few clues. Then, you should try not to expose your void-shattering finger art in the future. Murong Qingqing reminded him. Yi Chen said, I will. This battle between Xia Hozuan and Bai Wuxue is a great opportunity for me. Perhaps, my void-shattering finger art will also make a breakthrough to the profound level. Without even thinking about it, Xia Hozuan's achievement in the void-shattering finger art would definitely be higher than Yi Chen's, since he was at least 10 years older than Yi Chen. Otherwise, he would not have been able to become one of the top 5 young warriors. Xia Hozuan would definitely use his void-shattering finger art during his battle with Bai Wuxue. By then, Yi Chen would be able to observe his void-shattering finger art and learn the profound of space. It is less than a month and a half until the 18th of September. With my speed, I should be able to reach the 9-Dragon Mountain just in time. After drinking, I will leave immediately. You are right. It would be such a pity if I did not go and take a look at such a grand occasion. Plus, the top 5 young warriors have invited each other to battle, so all of the top young warriors in the world would definitely come to watch. Not just the top young warriors, even the master-level warriors from the older generation would come. They would also like to see how powerful the top 5 young warriors are. The news about the battle between Xia Hozuan and Bai Wuxue was just too shocking. The atmosphere in the restaurant was extremely heated, and it had not calmed down yet. Let's go. Putting down a piece of gold, Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing walked out of the restaurant. Among the people who were drinking, someone accidentally glanced at Yi Chen from the side. He poked the person next to him and said, why do I feel like he looks a bit like Yi Chen who had beaten Lin Tian? Yi Chen. Let me see. The person next to him looked over and frowned. Then, he looked at Murong Qingqing who was right next to Yi Chen. It is Yi Chen. After what happened in the Westling city, there was a lady in a purple dress with a light veil on her face right next to Yi Chen. Yi Chen. Everyone's attention had been attracted, but unfortunately, Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing had already walked out of the restaurant. There was a rumor in the Sky Martial region that Yi Chen was the top young warrior just below the top 5 young warriors. This news had already reached the Xianming city. Chapter 607. Back at the mansion, the two didn't go to the 9-Dragon Mountain right away. Although the 9-Dragon Mountain was far away, the two both had flying puppets, which could fly day and night. In less than half a month, they would be able to get to the 9-Dragon Mountain. Plus, it was not pointless for them to stay here. They were waiting for the news from the pavilion. The pavilion had 10 branches in total, and they were all located in the top 10 cities in the world. There were also some branches in smaller cities, but they were only used to collect information, and they did not accept inquiries. Arriving at the Xianming city, Yi Chen spent a large amount of top-rank soul stones to ask the pavilion to help him gather information about the last 3 materials. He promised that he would have a reply in a month, and it had already been half a month. The night came, and the entire Xianming city was in darkness. Formation. In the cold wind, groups of people in black suddenly appeared from all directions, heading towards the mansion that Yi Chen was in. There were 49 of them in total, but they did not enter the mansion. Instead, they waited outside, and each of them formed a hand seal. The hand seals were exactly the same, and the speed at which they formed the hand seals was exactly the same. It was not hard to imagine that they had practiced this technique hundreds and thousands of times, without a single mistake. As they formed the hand seals, circles of black shadows spread out with them as the center. There was a slight difference between the black shadows and the night sky, which was that it was completely black, and would not reflect any light. 49 people and 49 black shadows combined together, eventually forming a massive black light shield that covered the entire mansion. From the outside, it looked like the mansion had disappeared into thin air. Inside the mansion, sneak attack. Yi Chen walked out of the house and stepped on the snowy ground, and Murong Qingqing followed him. The two raised their heads. The sky was pitch black, and there were no stars at all. Looking out of the mansion, the buildings outside the mansion seemed to have disappeared as well, and there was only darkness. Swoosh! Yi Chen pointed his finger at the darkness, and a ray of sword qi shot out like a beam of light. Without a sound, the sword qi disappeared into the darkness. Such a powerful formation. It has formed a ward. Yi Chen's eyes focused as he said. Ward? Murong Qingqing had heard of this term before, but she didn't know much about it. A barrier can be said to be a kind of domain. This kind of domain separates us from the outside world. Inside the barrier, no matter what happens, it will be difficult for the outside world to know unless the barrier is broken. Of course, this is only the most basic ability of a barrier. Murong Qingqing said, such a meticulous plan, it should be a powerful assassination force. I wonder which assassination force it is. This enchantment contains the profound of shadow. If I have guessed it right, the people who created this array are assassins from the Ghost Shadow Pavilion. The Ghost Shadow Pavilion is the #1 assassin in the whole continent, and the leader of the pavilion, the Sha Ancestor, is the #1 assassin in the whole world. He also has 4 assassin kings under his command. But the Sha Ancestor and the assassin kings have nothing to do with us, since they would not need to use life and death realm warriors to assassinate us. Otherwise, the whole continent would be in chaos already. Facing a crisis that he had never encountered before, Yi Chen did not panic too much. Panicking would only give the assassin an opportunity, which would not help the situation. Outside the dark shadow barrier, a group of men in black that had appeared near the town walked out. Being able to force us to use the 7 extreme ghost shadow spell, this Yi Chen should be proud of himself even if he dies. In the past 10 years, this is the 3rd time we have used it. The leading man in black said, for normal master level Sea of Souls realm warriors, 2 or 3 of us would be enough. But for a famous master level Sea of Souls realm warrior, we would need a set of careful plans. But, according to the information we have gathered, this Yi Chen's survival ability is extremely horrifying. Therefore, I had no choice but to ask for permission to use the 7 extreme ghost shadow spell, and they had agreed to send out 49 support killers to help us. The Ghost Shadow Pavilion had its own rules. They would only have 1 chance to assassinate someone, and if they failed, they would not be able to do it again. Of course, it was not because the Ghost Shadow Pavilion was kind-hearted, but because of the pressure from all sides. Since there were more powerful parties than just the Ghost Shadow Pavilion in the whole continent, if they made the public angry, then they would not be able to stay in the whole continent anymore. Even so, there were still people who came to cause trouble for the Ghost Shadow Pavilion, trying to take them out. There is only 1 chance. I do not want any failures under my leadership. Don't worry, second leader. With the help of the 7 extreme ghost shadow spell, this assassination will not fail at all. I don't even think we will need to use it. Do not be too careless. I have a feeling that this assassination will be the most difficult one. The leading man in black, who was called the second leader, was not saying it out of nowhere. After being an assassin for a long time, one would have a feeling in their heart. If the other targets were prey in his eyes, then Yi Chen would be the hunter. No matter how powerful the prey was, it would still be captured, and the hunter would most likely turn the tables and try to assassinate them. Alright, let's move. Open a door. The leading man in black looked cold as he ordered one of the killers who had set up the ward. Yes. The killer who had set up the ward changed his hand seal, and a door appeared on the pitch-black light cover. It was still pitch black inside the door. Shoo! The group of people walked in, and the door was closed. In the manor, black shadows were everywhere, like a group of demons dancing. These black shadows could appear anywhere. In the trees, in the snow, in the air, in the buildings, in the flowers, and even in the lake, there were black shadows coming out. If one thought that the black shadows had no killing power, then it would be a big mistake. These black shadows should be controlled by the killers who had set up the ward, and they had extraordinary killing power. The black shadows could also materialize and assassinate two people. Swoosh! Slashing a black shadow with his sword, Yi Chen realized that this black shadow seemed to have an immortal body, and it would quickly regenerate. Curtain of darkness. Murong Qingqing used the dark profound, and a black light cover appeared, protecting Yi Chen and herself. Bang! The dark profound was very magical, and it could stop the black shadows from invading. But it was useless. Although the black shadows outside couldn't come in, the curtain of darkness was inside the ward, so the space inside the curtain of darkness would produce new black shadows to assassinate them. Dispersing the curtain of darkness, Murong Qingqing frowned. Although these black shadows can't do anything to us, being trapped inside is not a good thing. Yi Chen said indifferently, wait, the trump card will come soon. Although the ward was powerful, it was just a supporting function. The real assassin would be the killer, and that would be the most thrilling battle. Hee, die. Among the black shadows, there were some slightly different black shadows. These black shadows weren't exposed to Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing's sight, but they were hiding behind other black shadows. At this moment, several black shadows shot over. After being cut, one of them materialized, and a purple dagger appeared in his hand. The tip of the dagger was purple, and it was obviously poisonous. Swoosh! The dagger stabbed into the back of Yi Chen's heart. Success! Watch out! The killer didn't have time to be happy, as he saw that he had stabbed a black shadow. The black shadow disappeared, and a cold voice came from behind him. Shadow profound, I know it too. Crack! The killer's head was twisted by a hand, and his face was full of shock, as if he was asking who the killer was. Bastard, this guy knows Shadow profound too. The other killers who had snuck in gritted their teeth. At the same time, they couldn't help but shiver. A prey that knew Shadow profound was many times more dangerous than a prey at the same level. Shoo! After killing one killer, Yi Chen's body twisted, turning into a black shadow and rushing into the area where the black shadows gathered. Good chance. I will go catch that girl now, and make him hesitate. Another killer's face flashed with joy. Without making a sound, he started to approach Murong Qingqing. Murong Qingqing's pupils suddenly opened. There was another pupil inside, and it was a black vertical eye. Glancing around, she saw a faint human shadow flying over. Flying sky assassination cut. Murong Qingqing threw out a palm attack. Boom! That killer was blown away, puking out blood from his mouth. Hee, you are indeed worthy of the perfect demi-demon bloodline. You can see through the shadow profound. Unfortunately, your vision is too narrow. A faint human shadow appeared behind Murong Qingqing again, pointing at the acupuncture point on the back of her neck. Are you talking about yourself? Yi Chen had appeared behind him out of nowhere. The three of them were in a straight line. Behind Murong Qingqing was the killer, and behind the killer was Yi Chen. What? Impossible. When did he get here? The killer's face was full of fear. Reaching out his right hand, Yi Chen grabbed the killer's head. With a twist of his wrist, the killer's head was turned around, facing Yi Chen. Be careful. Yi Chen naturally knew about Murong Qingqing's abilities. She was not an ordinary person. She had cultivated a demi-body, and she also had the perfect demi-demon bloodline. Anyway, she was clearly different from humans. Her assassination skills were much better than most people. Yeah, I know. Murong Qingqing, on the other hand, was quite impressed by Yi Chen's unpredictability. Even she did not know how he got here, so she guessed that he must have used some kind of trick. The black shadows inside the barrier were endless. Murong Qingqing's demon eyes could only see through 1 or 2 layers of black shadows. If there were more layers of black shadows, the demon eyes would be useless. After all, the shadow profound was not an ordinary one. It was a profound used for assassination. Soul Destruction Wave. Facing the incoming black shadows, Murong Qingqing reached out her palm. A black light ball was condensed, and she clenched her fist. Buzz! The black light ball exploded, shooting out in a fan shape. Ah! An assassin could not bear the soul attack and showed himself. With a flash, Murong Qingqing chopped off the assassin's head. On the other side, Yi Chen killed another assassin. In total, 4 assassins had died in the hands of Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing. However, in the following confrontation, Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing both found that the assassins were getting more and more powerful. In other words, the ones who died earlier were the weaker ones. The ones who survived were all elite assassins who had experienced hundreds of battles. Humph, I finally tested your bottom line. Next, you two will not be able to escape from our palms. Yi Chen knew the shadow profound, and Murong Qingqing had the demon eyes. This was the consensus of the remaining assassins. Soul eyes, open. Right at this moment, a slit appeared between Yi Chen's brows, and a silver radiance leaked out. In the manner, all the assassins had nowhere to hide. Chapter 608. The killers from the Ghost Shadow Pavilion did not know how powerful Yi Chen's soul eye was. Although they felt a bit uneasy, they did not do anything. Plus, even if they knew about the power of the soul eye, there was no way out for them. The duration of the soul eye was very short, so Yi Chen had to finish the battle as soon as possible. Therefore, the second he opened it, he threw out a sword attack toward the 2 killers not far away. It was the gold pattern that he had just learned. Shoo! Shoo! A couple of messy gold sword cheese spread out like a pattern, and the 2 killers were instantly cut into pieces. There was no blood coming out from the wounds, as it was all sealed inside their bodies. This was the horrifying part of the gold pattern. The power only traveled in one line, and the power that leaked out was very little. Die! Yi Chen's sharp counterattack had made the killers from the Ghost Shadow Pavilion panic a bit. One of them, who had been hiding very well and was getting closer to Yi Chen, could not hold it in anymore. His body appeared from the crowd of black shadows. He had 2 ghost claws on his hands, which were shining with a dim light. Within a second, dozens of claw shadows had been shot out. Reverse Sky Thunder Cut. Yi Chen did not panic at all as he reached his left hand into his waist, holding his gold sword in a reverse grip. He threw out a sword attack, the dark blue sword light shining brightly. Swoosh! The claw shadow split apart, and a red line appeared on the killer's face. Blood poured out from the red line, and in the next second, his whole body was cut in half. Is he a human or a ghost? The rest of the killers saw this scene and started to panic for the first time. Up until now, they had not even touched Yi Chen, but he had already killed 6 of them. They were all ghost killers who had killed Master-level Sea of Souls realm warriors before. But now, they had all been killed by Yi Chen, and they had not even found a way to kill Yi Chen yet. Do not waste time with him. Capture that woman. Finally, these killers understood that it was impossible to kill Yi Chen now. Only by capturing Murong Qingcheng would they have a chance. Even if it did not work out, they could still use Murong Qingcheng to complete the mission, since the mission was divided into two parts. One was to kill Yi Chen, and the other was to take Murong Qingcheng away. Swish swish swish. All the assassins from the Ghost Shadow Pavilion pounced on Murong Qingcheng at the same time. As for the black shadows controlled by the assassins who had set up the wizardry barriers, they surrounded Yi Chen and prevented him from helping. For a moment, Murong Qingcheng and Yi Chen were separated. Curtain of darkness. Murong Qingcheng was not an existence that could be killed at will. The curtain of darkness could not stop the incorporeal shadows, but it could stop the assassins from the Ghost Shadow Pavilion. Bang, bang, bang. The sound of explosions rang out continuously. The assassins of the Ghost Shadow Pavilion were blocked outside the black barrier. Shadow stab. An extremely powerful assassin from the Ghost Shadow Pavilion had a ferocious look on his face. He pierced through the black barrier with one strike, and his body flashed as he dashed inside. Little bitch, when I catch you, I'll take good care of you. If you want to blame someone, blame your sweetheart. This assassin from the Ghost Shadow Pavilion was very afraid of Yi Chen, and this fear gave birth to ruthlessness. This time, even if he could not kill Yi Chen, he would make him suffer. How arrogant! Murong Qingcheng's pupils were vertical, which was the demon eye she had after cultivating the demon body. With the demon eye, she could see every move of her opponent. Boom! The two exchanged one move, and the assassin from the Ghost Shadow Pavilion had the upper hand. He changed his footwork, and the assassin turned into a wisp of black smoke, approaching Murong Qingcheng in a flash. His movement and flying skill were indeed unexpected. Even if Murong Qingcheng's speed was not any slower than his, it still gave the illusion that she could not block it. Swoosh! Two black shadows spread out behind Murong Qingcheng. They were not the shadows inside the wizardry barriers, nor were they the assassins from the Ghost Shadow Pavilion. They were a pair of black bat wings that were 1 meter long. The black bat wings stretched out from Murong Qingcheng's shoulder blades, and a wave of horrifying demon power spread out crazily. What? After missing his attack, the assassin realized that Murong Qingcheng had disappeared, and what was left was only a shadow. What was even more frightening was that because Murong Qingcheng's speed was too fast, her aura was still lingering on the shadow. No matter how good his eyes were, no matter how sharp his senses were, he would not be able to tell the real one from the fake one. Flying assassination cut. With the black bat wings on her back, Murong Qingcheng performed her profound sense martial art perfectly. It was obvious that she was not as powerful as her opponent, but she was still able to beat him. Looking from afar, this assassin was surrounded by Murong Qingcheng's shadows, which kept attacking the assassin in the middle. They were as fast as black shooting stars, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Being surrounded by so many black shadows, Yi Chen was not too worried, since he already knew about Murong Qingcheng's hidden power. For example, the demon eyes and the black bat wings. The demon eyes were formed naturally after training the demonic body, since the eyes were also part of the demonic body. Meanwhile, the black bat wings were Murong Qingcheng's special power. If Yuan Ye's special power was the strengthening of defense, then Murong Qingcheng's special power would be the strengthening of speed, and this pair of black bat wings would be the key to that. Ting! Dang! Dang! From being at a disadvantage to having the upper hand, Murong Qingcheng's attacking power had increased drastically. Of course, it would still be impossible for her to kill her opponent within a short period of time. Let's go together. The rest of the killers from the Ghost Shadow Pavilion jumped up after the black wall disappeared. They turned into countless black shadows, trying to kill Murong Qingcheng. Murong Qingcheng had fallen into a disadvantage again, and her route of movement was constantly blocked by the killers from the Ghost Shadow Pavilion. Break! 100 steps away, Yi Chen crossed his two swords in front of him, breaking through the black shadow's blockade. Amaranthan nature. A sword light flashed once outside of his body as Yi Chen caught a killer from the Ghost Shadow Pavilion and threw out a sword attack. Swoosh! There were not many people who could dodge the amaranthan nature, and it obviously did not include the one who had been hit by the sword. The soul eye is about to close. Feeling the pain in between his eyebrows, Yichen seized the last chance and threw out a couple of sword attacks. Dozens of messy gold sword chi spread out, killing a lot of the killers from the Ghost Shadow Pavilion. Only one killer from the Ghost Shadow Pavilion was still fighting against Murong Qingqing. Pap! The soul eye had finally closed. However, Yichen did not really need it anymore. Run! That killer from the Ghost Shadow Pavilion ran towards the edge of the barrier. Where do you think you are going? Yichen followed closely behind him. Let's die together. Realizing that he could not escape, that killer suddenly turned around. Intense black light shone out of his eyes, nose, mouth, and mouth. He was going to explode himself. Unfortunately, Yichen's sword was so fast that it pierced through his eyebrows. After killing the last killer from the Ghost Shadow Pavilion, Yichen slightly relaxed his nerves. During this short period of time, he seemed to be very relaxed, but he was actually extremely tense. He did not dare to make a single mistake, because he knew that he was facing the best killer in the whole continent. Abruptly, a figure jumped out from the shadow of the rockery on the right side of Yichen. He was the leader of this group of killers, and was called the deputy leader. You will not escape death after all. The deputy leader's face was full of joy. He did not expect that he would lose so many warriors to kill Yichen. Almost all of them had been killed. But it was all over now. At least he had survived and completed the mission. He did not care too much about the loss of his warriors. As an assassin, he would die sooner or later. Oh yeah. Yichen did not have enough time to dodge, and he could not even block out the attack. However, he still had enough time to activate his dragon power. The dragon power combined with his physical body covered his entire body. All of a sudden, a layer of white bone appeared on his skin. A light pressure spread out, and even the air seemed to have frozen. Boom! The second leader of the Ghost Shadow Pavilion had pierced through Yichen's protective Jin Yuan layer and landed on his chest. Even with the gold armor, Yichen would still be wounded badly. Once he was wounded badly, he would not be able to compete with the second leader of the Ghost Shadow Pavilion. However, with the protection of the dragon bone layer, he had only backed out for dozens of steps, and there was not a single wound on his body. 3 layers of defense. One was the protective Jin Yuan, the second was the gold armor, and the last was the dragon bone defense. If Yichen was wounded, then it would be really strange. After all, assassins were not that powerful in terms of attacking power. What they studied was assassination. Impossible. The deputy leader was shocked. It was not that he had never seen prey with powerful defense before, but he had never seen one like Yichen. If all the targets had this kind of defense, then there would be no need for the Ghost Shadow Pavilion to exist anymore. After all, if he could not even break through their defense, then how could he assassinate them? Unless the target did not have any defense and came to him on his own. Gold pattern. With the dragon bone defense, Yichen did not feel much of the vibration. Plus, because of the dragon power, his body was extremely powerful. His qi and blood only shook a little before returning to normal. Activating his Jin Yuan, Yichen held his breath and waved out a sword attack. Dang! 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 The deputy leader was very powerful, only slightly weaker than Yichen, and almost at the same level as Lin Tianmu and Yunhe. Soul Extinguishing Wave. Murong Qingqing appeared from the side with an extremely fast speed. She threw out her ace attack right from the start. The unique soul attack landed on the deputy leader's soul C. Not good. Even though Murong Qingqing's comprehension of the soul extinguishing wave had not reached completion yet, it was still enough to make the deputy leader's face turn pale, and he felt dizzy. Die! This time, Yichen took care of the deputy leader smoothly. The scattered golden sword qi sliced him into pieces, sending his limbs flying everywhere. Mission failed. Back out. Seeing the deputy leader die, the 49 assassins who had set up the ward all stopped their attacks, dispelling the ward. They then ran in different directions, disappearing into the night. They sure ran away fast. Yi Chen did not plan to chase after them, since he knew about the rules of the Ghost Shadow Pavilion. There was only one chance to assassinate a target. Once the mission failed, there would be no more assassinations. Of course, there were some exceptions. The black bat wings on her back flapped as Morong Qingqing put them away and sighed. If they had not run into us, they would have more than 90% chance of succeeding. There are always people who are not afraid of assassination, and we are one of them. Time flew by, and half a month had passed. Right then, news came from the pavilion as well. Out of the 3 materials, only one of them was in the hands of a rank 6 martial institution, which happened to be on the way to the 9-Dragon Mountain. Therefore, Yi Chen and Morong Qingqing left for the 9-Dragon Mountain immediately. Chapter 609. The Flowing Spring Valley was one of the many rank 6 martial institutions in the Sky Martial region. The leader of the valley, Hua Yingmei, was a rare female leader. Her power was not weak at all, and she was also a master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior. As a veteran rank 6 martial institution in the Sky Martial region, there was no reason for her not to know about Yi Chen. Therefore, she seemed to be very friendly toward Yi Chen and Morong Qingqing's visit. Yi Chen exchanged a few words with them before telling them the reason for their visit. Hearing him, Hua Yingmei frowned and forced a smile. If you two had come a few months earlier, I would have given the fruit to you for sure. Unfortunately, you came at a bad time. The only fruit in our martial institution has already been made into a pellet with other ingredients. Yi Chen said, I heard that there is a phoenix plume tree in the Flowing Spring Valley. Could it be that this tree only has one fruit? Hua Yingmei knew that the other party suspected that she was evading, so she explained, a phoenix plume tree that is thousands of years old will naturally have more than one phoenix plume fruit, but the phoenix plume tree of our sect is only 900 years old. It blooms every 3 years and bears fruit every 3 years. If you two don't believe me, I can take you to see the phoenix plume tree. I believe that with your eyesight, you should be able to see the phoenix plume tree. That will not be necessary. Yi Chen also knew that the maturity of the phoenix plume tree had something to do with the number of fruits. Since she had already said it, it would be disrespectful of him if he still doubted her. Warrior Yi is in urgent need of the fruit? Hua Yingmei asked. Yi Chen nodded, I need it to make an antidote for saving people. Hua Yingmei said, young hero Yi, perhaps you can go to the northern sector's desolate fire region to take a look. Our sect's phoenix plume tree was transplanted from the desolate fire region. Although I don't know if there's a second phoenix plume tree there, it's better than no hope. Desolate fire region? That was the barbarian race's territory. 2/3 of the entire northern regions were the barbarian race's territory, while the remaining 1/3 was occupied by other races. Where exactly is the desolate fire region? A region was just too huge. Even a life and death realm warrior would not be able to explore the entire region without leaving a single gap in his or her entire life. This phoenix plume tree was found in the western part of the barbaric mountains. I have a map here that I can give to young hero Yi. Hua Yingmei took out an aged map from her storage ring and handed it over to Yi Chen. This map did not have much value to her anyway, so she might as well do him a favor. Yi Chen took the map and opened it. The map only outlined the terrain of the barbaric mountains. Everything else was drawn with lines. Putting away the map, Yi Chen said emotionally, everyone says that Leader Hua is a kind person. Now that I have seen him, it is indeed true. I can see that you are at peak level late Sea of Souls realm, and you should be accumulating your Jin Yuan to prepare for breaking through to the life and death realm. How about this? I have a couple of plants here as a thank you gift. Hua Yingmei wanted to reject it, but she said, breaking through to the life and death realm is not that easy. I can only try my best. As for the thank you gift, forget it. I did not help you that much anyway. Yi Chen chuckled, Valley Leader Hua, don't be in such a hurry to reject me. The herbs that I want to give you are the necessary materials for making extreme rank heaven spirit pellets. If you can find the other leftovers, you can make a batch of extreme rank heaven spirit pellets, which would save you at least 10 years of hard work. As he spoke, Yichen took out a couple of plants with powerful spirit chi. The necessary materials for making extreme rank heaven spirit pellets. Hua Yingmei was shocked. Breaking through to the life and death realm would require way too much Xinyuan. Although her cultivation was still far from the life and death realm, and she might not be able to reach it in this lifetime, who would have the confidence to make it? If she did not prepare well, there would be no hope at all. If she really had a furnace of extreme rank heaven spirit pellets, it would indeed save her at least 10 years of hard work. Plus, even if she could not reach the life and death realm in the future, she would still have the chance to reach half-step king warrior. This. Hua Yingmei blushed a bit. Before, she had rejected it, but now she was hesitating again. Here, Leader Hua. Yichen handed the plants to him. Although these plants were precious, he had quite a lot of them, and they were all from the Treasure River Island and the Savage Ancient Place. Most of them were from the Treasure River Island. Unfortunately, it was already hidden, otherwise, he would like to go there again. Valley Master Hua took the herbs and said seriously, I only helped young Hero Yi with a small matter, but young Hero Yi gave me a big gift. If there's anything you need help with in the future, just tell me. My Flowing Spring Valley has some connections. Then I will leave now. Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing stood up and said goodbye. Leaving the palace, the two walked toward the entrance of the valley. This leader is quite easy to talk to. Murong Qingqing laughed. Yi Chen nodded. As the leader of a martial school, Leader Hua's attitude is indeed admirable. He might even have a chance to reach the life and death realm. As they spoke, the two arrived at the entrance of the valley, got on the flying puppet, and flew toward the Nine-Dragon Mountain. The Nine-Dragon Mountain was one of the most famous mountains in the Sky Martial region. It was huge, no smaller than a mid-sized mountain range. It looked like it was surrounded by 9 dragons. Along the way, Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing could see Sea of Souls realm warriors flying toward the Nine-Dragon Mountain. Some of them were alone, while some were in groups, which were obviously the disciples of the big martial institutions. Some of them were riding on vicious flying beasts, looking quite extraordinary. All in all, the Nine-Dragon Mountain had become the most popular place. Brother Yi, what a coincidence. On the right, Hai Wuya and his junior brothers and sisters were approaching on a water-type flying demonic beast. Yi Chen chuckled, oh, it is Brother Hai. The two of them exchanged a few words before introducing each other to the people beside them. Brother Yi, it has been a couple of months since I last saw you. Your name has become quite famous in the Sky Martial region. Everyone says that you are the #1 warrior just below the top 5 young warriors. To be honest, when Hai Wuya first heard the news, he was indeed shocked. All of them had the dragon blood plant, and they had all trained some of it. But, the improvement was not that huge. At most, it would be a small increase. On the other hand, Yi Chen had already surpassed most of the famous young warriors. Yi Chen forced a smile. Times have changed. I guess a lot of people do not like me anymore. You are right. Besides the top 5 young warriors, no one would dare to call themselves the #1 warrior. Therefore, a lot of people do not like you. I guess there will be a lot of people who will challenge you. It is inevitable. Let's see who is more powerful with our moves. Yi Chen did not care much about it. There would be a price to pay for being famous. If one did not want to pay the price, then it would be best not to be famous at all. As long as you are confident. Hai Wuya changed the topic. Speaking of which, this battle between Xia Hozuan and Bai Wuxue has caused quite a big commotion. All of the young warriors want to see the gap between them and the top 5 young warriors. Those older generation master-level warriors also want to know how powerful the top 5 young warriors are, and if they have the power to threaten them. Anyway, this battle might be a meeting of master-level warriors, and there will be a lot of people there. I guess half of all the master-level warriors in the whole True Spirit continent will be there. Yi Chen said, the battle between Xia Hozuan and Bai Wuxue would also be beneficial to the people watching. I think that is the main reason. Yeah, indeed. Yes, that is indeed the case. Cultivation base, will, and profound sense are all part of one's basic strength. Everyone has them, but when two people with similar basic strength meet each other, there might be a huge gap. For example, the profound sense contained in the low-grade profound sense martial arts are all about the same, so no one will be able to surpass the other by much. However, why would there be a difference in the power? That is because of the difference in martial arts styles and usage. Moreover, the profound sense martial arts created by oneself and the profound sense of others are the same, but the profound sense martial arts created by oneself are more suitable for oneself, and can display the extreme power. There are too many of them, and it is impossible to judge a person's strength from the basic strength. You still have to look at the battle power. 3 days later, Yi Chen and the group of people arrived at the Nine-Dragon Mountain. Hai Wuya said, Xia Hozuan and Bai Wushue's battle location is right in the middle of the Nine-Dragon Mountain, the Nine-Dragon Lake. Let's go. When Yi Chen and the group arrived at the Nine-Dragon Lake, it was already surrounded by people. Some of them seemed to be enjoying themselves, building pavilions and even wooden houses near the lake. Following what Yi Chen and the others had done, more people were building places to watch the battle. This is indeed a grand occasion. Looking around, Yi Chen could see at least hundreds of master-level Sea of Souls Realm warriors, and thousands of Sea of Souls Realm warriors. None of them were weak, and their auras were powerful. Yi Chen is here. Hai Wuya is here as well. Some of the people had recognized Yi Chen and Hai Wuya, who was quite famous. There is a small mountain over there. The Nine-Dragon Lake was huge, and there were not that many people here yet. So, there was still a lot of empty space around. Yi Chen controlled his flying puppet to carry him and Murong Qingqing over there. Hai Wuya naturally followed as well, since a small mountain was more than enough for more people to watch the battle. One of the top 3 master-level blade artists, Shen Qianlang, is here. Although Shen Qianlang had lost to Xiao Chuha, one of the top 5 young warriors, no one doubted his power. So, the necessary respect was still necessary. Look! One of the top 3 master-level blade artists, Lin Chaonan. The leader of the Wavy Snow Palace, the Snow Sword Master. And the #1 master-level Thunder Master of the Thunder region. Those who could be recognized by the crowd were all famous Sea of Souls Realm master-level warriors. As for those famous Sea of Souls Realm master-level warriors in certain regions, not many people knew them, since this was the Sky Martial region, the center of the continent. Without enough power and fame, no one would be able to recognize you. There were still 2 days before the battle. Within these 2 days, people started to arrive one after another. There were already more than 500 master-level Sea of Souls Realm warriors. It sounded like a lot, but one should not forget that there were trillions of people in the continent. It would be normal for there to be 500 master-level Sea of Souls Realm warriors, and it would be normal even if there were thousands of them. After all, there would be 10 life and death realm warriors every 100 years. After 1,000 years, there would be more than 100 life and death realm warriors, not to mention master-level Sea of Souls realm warriors. The reason why the human race was so powerful was because of their huge numbers. Without enough power, no matter how powerful an individual was, it would be useless. The ancient demons had lost in terms of numbers. One day before the battle, the Nine-Dragon Lake was heated up again. Xiao Chuha is here. Sword Master. De Gaju. Yen Feng Feng. And the leader of the top 3 master-level blade artists, Xia Baiting. In other words, Xia Baiting's status was the highest among all of them. It was because he was the leader of the top 3 master-level blade artists, and he had never been defeated before. Even the top 5 young warriors might not be able to threaten him. You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.